3 rounds in and things are beginning to take shape. Apologies for some technical difficulties here for tonight, but we are ready to go. We're just going to do this old school style like a radio show. Hey, I'm Adam Young in the booth tonight. Hey, we got the return of the Adam and Adam show. We haven't had this in GSRC in a long time. I got Adam Lindgren here sitting right beside me and our director, Zach Johnson. And whenever we get the cameras up, they'll be provided by Dougie Beard. Hey, the TCRs and GT4s of the PRL series are ready to rock and roll. They are gridding right now, so unfortunately we missed qualifying, but I can tell you, Christopher Kozikow on the pole here for your GT4s, Rob Campbell alongside him. Next up, we got Peter Newhook and Dean Giroux, Devin Lemke and Danik Van Dale. They'll be starting on row 3. Cody Hatch and Johnny Luna in row 4. Dave Peterson, Sean Moulahan in row 5. Nicholas Kolander and Christian Lysiak will be behind them. Pierre Oliver Frechette and Pete Thomas will be on row 7. Kevin Berquist and Sylvian Bergeron are going to be in row 8. Charles Sumner and Skip Gandy are back there as well. Don Bowden, Jeffrey Seabach, they're going to be starting 19th and 20th. And then you have Robert Galanotto, Mike Witt, and Nick McLaughlin rounding out the GT4 field.
And then the TCRs, we got Andrew Waring pipping Andrew Hardman, an inverse of how they run in the championship standings. Only 5 points apart are those two. We got Jonathan Wagger back there in 3rd position with Tyler Scarali next to him in 4th. James Doherty is going to be in the 5th position with Michael Broomhead all the way down in 6th. Not a great qualifying for Broomhead today, with Ozzie Milwayne down in 7th. Nick Horvath is going to line up in 8th for the TCRs, with Phil Amaro lining up in 9th. Jeffrey Smith in 10th. Sebastian Villeneuve in the 11th position with Harlan Gilbrin in 12th position. We got Joe Mackley in 13th, Malcolm Foster 14th, Jerome Stanton 15th with Calvin Lay in 16th position, Jean-Sebastian Giroux in 17th, Jalmay Hard in the 18th position. Then we got Brian Hoskins and Pete Bladon, who did not set qualifying times, rounding out your 15 car field for the TCRs and 43 cars here tonight.
Yeah, and they're starting around the back half of the course. We're about kind of halfway through the 1.98 miles here at Summit Point. And Adam, this is of course a lot of sim racers definitely start on as far as cutting their teeth as far as their road course skills.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely where they get their start for the most part. A lot of drivers driving the MX-5s and the Skip Barbers around here for their road course drivers, but definitely a place that's familiar to most drivers, but it's a very tight track. Only 2 lanes wide at most places and grass right on the edges. So these drivers are going to have to be very careful, especially into the dangerous turn 5, which we've nicknamed Yard Sale. There tends to be a lot of crashes there as drivers are piling very fast speed through the chute and then hit the brakes quickly. But looks like the pace car is about to pull in, Adam.
Yeah, and that will start the 35-minute race here for today. It is an open setup. This is round 4 of 10. Just as like usual, drive-through penalty at 13, disqualification at 17, and of course you get a few bonus points for a couple of different things. The GT4s are rounding that last corner on the long front straightaway here at Summit Point, and the green flag is out as they get ready to start that 35-minute journey to the checkered flag. As it looks like Christopher Kozikow here getting a fantastic start as he's going to be able to sail these guys off into turn 1 with Rob Campbell following close behind. Peter Newhook trying to make a move on second there going through 1. How those TCRs look at the start?
It's very close between Hardman and Wagger for the 3rd position, but Hardman was able to pull up ahead. Andrew Waring off to a great start, about half of a second ahead of Hardman, but then they start to pile up back from about 5th on back. We got Ozzie Milwayne making a pass to James Doherty. We got Phil Morrow making a pass on Jeremy Smith as they go through turn 1, but a clean start for the TCRs.
Yeah, all right. So both classes getting off to a clean start. Andrew Waring trying to duplicate his efforts from a few weeks ago as far as having a good race. GT4s have, for the most part, gotten themselves single file as well. There's really only a good couple of passing opportunities here at Summit Point, Adam.
Absolutely. A very few passing opportunities, but one of them is into turn 5 Yard Sale, and that's what the TCRs are diving into right now. It's actually side by side between Phil Amaro and Harlan Gilbert, and I can report that Cody Hatch has had a problem in the GT4s. He's all the way back to the back of the pack, just accelerating now ahead of Andrew Waring.
Of course, it had to have been after I had said that they would get off to a clean start. It looks like Cody Hatch just lost the back end a little bit. No damage to him, but now he's got to work his way through that TCR field, at least the front half of it there. Those GT4s, though, once again, for the most part, single file until you actually get up toward the front with Dean Giroux trying to make a look here on Peter Newhook for third. Not quite able to get it done, but Peter Newhook in the Aston and Dean Giroux in the BMW still continuing to fight. And hey, look at that. I think we got a little video here trying to come up. We'll get that proved here over the course of the next couple of minutes. That these guys really liking to ride through the dirt just a little bit. TCR is still looking clean as well. We're starting to see a few more side-by-side battles. And I did believe I saw Malcolm Foster taking a trip through the kitty litter dirt for just a moment. Excuse me, that was actually Sebastian Villeneuve.
Yeah, Villeneuve got up alongside Nick Horvath had a problem. We got Sylvain Bergeron, who is off at turn 5. So yard sale living up to its name already. Sylvain Bergeron and it looks like Michael Broomhead unfortunately having an issue. Sorry, that was actually Mike Witt who had an issue in the GT4s. So Mike Witt's off as well as Sylvain Bergeron. There's Mike Witt parked. Looks like he possibly has a technical, but he's got it started going again. He's going to be behind all the TCRs. He's going to have a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, he ended up not being able to qualify for some reason, whether it be strategy or otherwise. So position-wise, he didn't lose a lot, but track position-wise, lost a ton because he has to work his way back through the class, assuming everything is okay from the technical side. Right now, looking at Pete Thomas trying to make a move now on Christian Lasik. That's for 10th in your GT4s. That's the one battle I see right now at the front half of that GT4.
Oh, we've had a back in the second place for the TCRs right now. Jonathan Wagner got into the back of Andrew Hardman, sent Hardman around. Hardman's back to 6th, and Wagner's back to 9th.
So some action now in your TC4 class. We'll have to see if he's able to get back on a recovery drive. This is not exactly the position that he had wanted to be in there. So far, and this is going to be the case here for a good chunk of the day, I believe, is that most of these guys using that draft here, lots of drafting opportunities. It's really only, I'd say, about a third of the track is relatively technical, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. A third of the track is very technical. Entering turn 5 all the way through the carousel and the S's. And then coming out the S's, approaching Paddock Bend can actually be a challenge. You see a lot of drivers go off there, especially in these TCR machines. So it's not surprising to see a couple of incidents, but they mostly happen into the hard braking points. The TCR seem to be struggling with turn 1, and the GT4s struggling with turn 5, or what we're calling yard sale. Already lived up to its name, but the GT4s are pretty packed together there towards the back of the field.
They are, but the front half of the field continuing to separate themselves as Christopher Kazakow has stepped himself out to a relatively large lead. You get back to Kevin Bergquist and Charles Sumner. They continue to fight back there, and that is going for about 12th on back as Charles Sumner is going to slide in that Porsche. Sitting broadside to the field, and a lot of people have stepped out, so he's wisely going to put that car in reverse as the TCRs come through, and he'll wait to be able to come back onto the course here in just a moment. But there's Christopher Kazakow, that already up to a 1.5 second lead. Go ahead, Adam.
Sorry, Scaroli just moved Andrew Waring into turn 5 and took away the lead of the TCR race, so Waring's back to 3rd with Milwain breathing down his neck very tightly.
Andrew Waring has had himself a couple of good rounds here, but still looking to, always looking for more. So may not be happy with being moved out of the way, but he is still in position to be able to try to get those spots back, as he does have I believe that's his teammate in front of him in Ozzie Milwain. And then, of course, you got Tyler Scarelli, as you were just talking about, had just taken over that lead. This might be a good point to, if we could just quickly bring up the points here. We'll do the GT4s and we'll talk about the TCRs, just the drivers' points real quick. And the GT4 standings as Christopher Kazakow on top of Rob Campbell. And, of course, they're running 1-2 right now with Rob Campbell just 12 points behind Christopher Kazakow. And Devin Lampke in 3rd, Johnny Luna in 4th, with Danik Van Dale in 5th. And this is big for Danik, is that he has already dropped out of this race with connection issues there. How those TCR standings look at him, it's been a battle down there as well.
Yeah, well, Andrew Hardman in 6th this race, currently only 5 points ahead of Andrew Waring as Milwane makes the pass on Scarali for the lead of the TCR race. But that being said, Milwane down in 4th position, just behind Michael Broomhead, only 5 points back of that. So, yeah, these TCR races are being very tight together right now.
Yeah, and you see how good of a season Andrew Waring is having so far. Definitely wants to try to get back to be in a fight here to do it with Tyler Scarali, and has the draft
3 wide.
Is they're going to go 3 wide. That's right. For that's 4th, 5th, and 6th. They're going to get themselves settled out a little bit, but you're looking at Andrew Waring and Tyler Scarali just getting swallowed up in that pack right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Waring trying to get going, but he's tucked in behind Scarali. Right next to him is James Doherty, who's trying to battle with him. Looks like Joe McCauley's had an issue through turn 1. He's getting himself going again. But my goodness, Andrew Waring just kind of getting eaten alive right now. And Milwane off to a huge lead, nearly 2 seconds over these guys as they're fighting.
Yeah, and some of that was Sylvain Bergeron coming through in that McLaren there in the GT4s, trying to get back some track position that he lost earlier on. So he's mixing it up with the TCRs at the very moment, and while they're doing that, you're right, Ozzie Milwane just kind of setting sail. Meanwhile, if we could go back up front to the GT4s, Rob Campbell just set the fastest lap of the race, and on top of that, he's actually gained about another half second on Christopher Kozakow, had it back within a second for a moment, but behind them, Giroux and Newhook, and also Johnny Luna into a fight for 3rd.
Yeah, absolutely. Newhook just getting passed by Giroux. He took it a little bit too deep through the carousel and actually allowed Giroux to get through. Well, actually, I say the carousel. That was actually turn 1. There you see Giroux actually going defensive into yard sale, and that's Luna trying to make a move up the inside of Newhook. This will switch to the outside as they go through the carousel, and then into the S's. Luna trying to do the over-under. Looks like he's going to get it done here. Newhook leaving the door open, and Luna jumping in that GT4, the GT4 BMW.
Yeah, but Peter Newhook back behind him in that Aston. This is another good drafting opportunity here as they head downhill into the final quarter. That sweeping right-hander onto the main straightaway. Those GT4s really fly through this section of the course. So we'll see if Newhook's able to come back on him. But Devin Lamke is back there, really looking, maybe thinking for a second there, he thought he might try to take advantage of Peter Newhook, but is actually let off the gas. Maybe a little bit of fuel saving going on there. Just decided the move wasn't worth it at the moment.
Yeah, so Adam, one of the things I'm keeping my eyes on is I think these GT4s are going to be tucked into the middle of the TCRs towards the end of this race. We're just about 10 minutes in, and Christopher Kozakow is about he's about 10 seconds behind the leading GT, or the trailing TCR. And it's really, really hard for these GT4s to pass the TCRs on this track. It's so tight, so winding. The TCRs actually have good acceleration off the slow corners, so the GT4s are going to have to rely on their straight line speed. But if they get caught up in any battles, it's going to be real trouble for them.
You are right, and you mentioned tight fighting between classes. If you joined us last week, you know what happened with the GT3s and LMP2s, and that was at Watkins Glen. Stick around here in about 35, 40 minutes or so for the LMP2 GT3 classes. Today, that's going to be at Long Beach. So if you thought Watkins Glen was exciting for battles between the different classes, wait till you see Long Beach coming up here in just a little while here for this evening, as the battle on track right now continues to be the GT4s and your TCRs for about another 24 minutes or so. We're looking at Peter Newhook still trying to hold off Lamke, and while these two have been fighting, Johnny Luna's finally been able to separate himself along with Giroux.
We just had a big collection in turn 1. Christian Laziak just went across the track, unfortunately, and Pete Thomas and Don Bowden just collected some damage off of that.
To get themselves back straight, losing a little bit of time in the process. You have to wonder, and I'm trying to get back to them to actually look at their cars. Did they have any kind of damage to their vehicles from the contact as well? We got it pulled up here on the GSRC replay machine, just dives it in there, and I don't even think he really knew he was there at the moment.
No, and unfortunately that collected a couple of other vehicles, so everyone getting going again, but that was a big scary moment. But another scary moment going on right now for 10th position in the TCRs as Jeffrey Smith goes almost sliding through the grass.
It still is sliding through the grass there in that purple and black Honda. Is now sits in behind Charles Sumner and Charles's GT4 Porsche, who had an incident earlier on. Now Charles trying to make his way back up through these TCRs in recovery drive, but work cut out for him as these guys are getting a little feisty back here.
Very feisty back here. Smith unfortunately falling back a couple of positions with that slide through, but man, 10th position is a really contentious spot for these guys. And there's Charles Sumner, as he said, trying to make his way back through. It's a real struggle for him right now, but this is the struggle that our leaders in the GT4s are going to have when they catch up to these battles in the TCRs, because the TCRs are fairly quick and they're actually a little bigger in size than our GT4s as far as like wheelbase is concerned. So it can almost feel like you're trying to go around a moving roadblock.
Just to give folks an idea of the speed difference between the two, it was really only about a second and about 1.7 seconds your difference between pole sitters in your GT4s and your TCRs. So that right there, there's not a lot of difference as they start to go. Let's go take a look at P2 here in the TCRs with Andrew Waring, Tyler Scarali trying to renew their battle that they were having a few minutes ago. They stopped the bleeding out to Ozzie Milwane when they were starting to run nose to tail, but now that they're starting to gain a little bit of ground back on Ozzie, they've decided they're going to go ahead and start fighting again.
Yeah, absolutely. So Scarali definitely trying to put pressure on Waring. We got Broomhead trying to put pressure on Darty, but unfortunately he did not take Paddock Bend very well, but he's got a good run. It does Broomhead on Darty, and they got Andrew Hardman trying to get that recovery done and trying to get back to his championship rival. Look at this, Broomhead looking for a move.
And see what he is able to do there as they continue to really get feisty in this TCR field. I think the TCRs have definitely been quite a bit more racy here for tonight so far than your GT4s. With GT4s, quite a bit of separation in your front three. It doesn't really get exciting until you have your third, fourth, and fifth, and then you have to go a long ways back to start getting that separated again. So these TCRs have been the class of the multi-class race here for us so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we're watching this, I just want to let you know, Rob Campbell's closing the gap on Kazukow for the GT4 lead. Is down to 8/10, so we'll keep our eyes on that if that gets spicy. Absolutely. So as they continue to drive, there is the gap you're seeing right now, and there is the TCRs as they start to come through. Ooh, who's that off? That's Don Bowden. He was off in the woods. Oh, that was close as he almost got hit there as a couple of drivers going that way by. That was Hardman and Broomhead as they're battling through Paddock Bend now. So it looks like Bowden's going to take two. No, that was Jonathan Wagner who went into the pits. So he's in the pits right now. Broomhead putting pressure on Hardman, who just went through. So Andrew Hardman up to 4th position in the TCRs. And there is that battle going on right now with Broomhead starting to back off a little bit of Hardman as they enter turn 1.
Right at the beginning of the pit window, but still I would, maybe some people trying to do some jumping into pits depending on who they like, but that Hardman Broomhead battle does continue on. Dowtry right behind him, Horvath back there looking to see if he can take advantage as well. These guys have had a few fights here through the season so far, and this is just another one as we continue to work round 4 of 10 here at Summit Point for your overall season for your GT4s and TCRs. And it's been an exciting season so far, Adam, and tonight definitely continuing that on is you can see your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of your top 8 TCRs right there on your screen at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the battle down for 10th is still hard going between Harlan Goldburn, Jeffrey Smith, Sebastian Villeneuve, Jeremy Stanton, as they're all battling themselves going through the S's. So there are battles all over the track right now. Looks like Kazukow pulled out a little bit more of a gap, about half a second on Campbell recently. Here's that battle that I was talking about. This is Goldburn under pressure from Villeneuve as Villeneuve's looking to go up the inside of Paddock Bend. That usually doesn't work. Let's see how he does it.
Oh, contact in there, move him out of the way. they you know, he's going to feel bad about that. They don't normally race like that, but you know, it's just sometimes that thing that happens in that high-speed right-hander that leads onto the front straightaway here at Summit Point. It's multi-groove, but you have to plan on it on entry for it to be multi-groove.
Yeah, absolutely. And Goldburn did not think that Villeneuve was going to stick it out there, but Villeneuve absolutely did. So that's why we saw what he did. Looks like we have a lot of drivers into the pits. Kazukow and Campbell are leaders in the GT4s, taking their pit stops right now.
All right, so some early takers right now on pit road, and that'll shift hands on the GT4s as Kazukow already coming out. You can see some of the rest of the GT4 class, so it was a relatively quick stop as he's coming out mixed in with some of these guys here. This is the danger zone for some of these leaders, that now they have to know that they actually have people around them. It also leads to a pretty big opportunity here for Rob Campbell if he's able to take advantage of Kazukow in traffic, with him only being about 1.3 seconds when they came down pit road.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's opened up to about 3.4 seconds post pit stop. So Campbell actually lost time on entry and exit of pit road, and now he's got to battle through traffic that's not going to want to let him through. So that's going to make things a lot harder for Campbell.
Of course, meanwhile, up front now, those GT4s, Giroux has been able to take the lead here momentarily with Luna right behind him. And it looked like I saw Luna was getting ready to come down pit road along with Giroux. So that's going to hand the lead temporarily over to Peter Newhook, who has Lamke right behind him. Is Newhook will be able to get that lap led here for this afternoon. Peter Newhook is another guy that's had himself an okay season, and just has not been able to get the results that he quite wants here so far. He's looking for that big change here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kazukow, that early pit stop worked out for him. He's got a massive gap over Luna and Giroux at this point. So as far as the pitters are concerned for the GT4s, we got 9th Christopher Kazukow, the 13th, a good like 4 seconds back is Campbell. Then we got another 3 seconds back is Luna, and then another second back being Giroux in 16th and 17th. So looks like this really worked out for Kazukow.
Yeah, and it's surprising because he is really being held up right now by that Porsche that's right in front of him. I believe that is the the Porsche Skip Gandy there in. You know, now granted, Skip Gandy's getting to a point that he's pretty light on fuel. He's probably going to be coming in this time by, but even then, I mean, Kazukow's not running the lap times that he was at the beginning of his run last time out.
No, but Kazukow should be free and clear within a lap or two. Campbell's got some clean air in front of himself. He's got about 2 seconds up to Christian Lisiak, so it looks like Skip Gandy is coming into the pits this time. Yes, he is. So that frees up Campbell. So that frees up Kazukow. So bad news for Campbell, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Peter Newhook, Lamke, Mullahan, all staying out here so far in your GT4s, seeing what they could get here, going with a slightly alternative strategy. Now, in these cars, they are limited, I believe it's 35% fuel, so they can't, there's not going to be too big of a gap between these guys coming in from when the leaders came in a little while ago, so it will cycle through, but even then, a couple of tenths of a second is pretty important here.
Yeah, very, very important. A couple of tenths of a second, especially when it comes time for the pit stops. Looks like we're having our first TCR pit stops right now. We have, I believe that is Sebastian Villeneuve and Harlan Goldburn coming into the pits for their first pit stops.
And watching those guys, and these should be relatively quick stops for the TCRs as well, as they're already starting to see them pull away. And I imagine we'll start to see that field get mixed up here pretty well. Is together here. It's one of the green and purple cars, trying to see if that's Galanotto or Pete Thomas. But looks like they've had Pete Thomas having a little bit of a lawnmower experience, still having trouble. That's to be careful backing out right there. Eventually find himself disappearing off the face of the earth, if you will.
Yeah, he decided. I mean, usually you try not to explore the forest around here because you tend to get lost.
We missed it, and that was Johnny Luna is what sent Pete Thomas around.
Oh, another big wreck right behind him.
Oh,
That was huge. That was Horvath. That was Horvath and Macaulay. Brian Hoskins. Oh, sorry, that was Jeffrey Smith, Jonathan Wagner, and Joe Macaulay, who just had that huge incident.
that was heavy contact there. You saw the wheel rolling across the track. GSRC replay machines getting pulled up. What you're talking about is the incident with Pete Thomas and Johnny Luna. That was one of your leaders, right into the tire barrier, and then comes back on track. Nowhere to go at that point.
That is a horror wreck, honestly, for a TCR car. That's bad.
So Johnny Luna has now backed out of the race after the contact with Pete Thomas, and then you just saw the heavy contact there with the TCRs. So getting a little bit starting to see some more action out there. Who's that coming down pit road? Is that I believe that's Ozzy, is it not?
Yeah, it's Ozzy Milwane coming to the pits. So quite a few drivers. Oh wow, he really confused on where he found his pit stop. But look at this, nice little battle going on. This is for the lead of the race at this point with Andrew Waring, Tyler Scarali, and Hardman. They have yet to pit. Hardman almost caught up back up to the back of Waring at this point. He's the third car in line.
And they are running nose to tail with Scarali's wing right underneath Andrew Waring. Truly probably trying to save just a touch of fuel. I mean, if he has to take a tenth less fuel than Andrew Waring here coming into the pits, that's just that much slightly more faster of a pit stop they'll be able to get by with. So I wonder if that's part of the strategy going on right now, or he's just trying to hope to fill his mirrors, have him make a mistake before he comes down pit road.
It looks like we've had Devin Lamke, Dave Peterson, and Kevin Berquist come into the pits. So they've all come into the pits for the GT4s. That means Kazakow has re-inherited the lead, and he's going to be in traffic for the rest of this race. And we've had some divers for the pits, Scarali and Hardman.
So the teammates coming down pit road. That'll leave Andrew Waring still up front. Michael Broomhead.
Hardman missed his box.
Oh, heartbreaker for Hardman. That's going to cost him a lot of time.
That was a good 5 seconds.
And with that, Andrew Hardman is going to be fairly out of contention here as far as a podium finish here for today.
You say that, but Adam, he was able to close the gap on Waring that was around 10 seconds after his first lap incident. So I don't think the game's over for Hardman, but he's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to pray that the racing gods smile upon him.
Weirder things have happened. And, just because I said it means that, anything can and usually does happen. Hey, we haven't checked in on your GT4s here in a little bit. GT4's Kazakow has opened up that lead to 4.4 seconds over Rob Campbell after they have cycled through their pit stops with Giroux and Lamke in third and fourth now. Newhook lost a lot of time in that sequence. He's dropped back to fifth. And of course, we were talking about the incident with Johnny Luna a few minutes ago. He is out of the race now after that contact with Pete Thomas. So Kazakow continues to be the class of the field here this afternoon.
And Waring and Broomhead are in from the lead of the TCR, so this means that they will cycle back out to where they are rightfully placed. Tyler Scarali has also come in, so this means Ozzy Milwane was the first driver to take to the pits. And the question is where is he in relation to these guys? He was way ahead by a significant margin before the pit stops. And unfortunately for Ozzy, he is going to come out, and he's going to be about 7 seconds behind Waring, so traffic not playing well for Ozzy today.
Well, I could have sworn Ozzy came in a little while ago.
He did. Quite a while ago.
Yeah, so that was things definitely did not work out there in their favor. No, excuse me, it was I'm sorry, I'm getting my drivers mixed up here. It was Scarali who I could have sworn came in a little while ago, and then he looks like he actually has made a second pit stop.
Oh.
He's fallen himself down to 12th. Sorry, getting my drivers mixed up there. What's Scarali I was trying to talk about? And so his day has gone from bad, it's gone from relatively really good to now being almost in the same boat as his teammate with having some problems.
And so just a note on Hardman, he is about 9 seconds behind Waring. He'd have to make up a minute. He'd have to make up a second a minute, which would be about a second and a half per lap. That's going to be hard work for Hardman to do. I don't think it's possible, but we have another pitter coming in right now. That's Phil Amaro, who had yet to pit, so he's currently pitting. Looks like Guillaume Huard had an incident right there. We're taking a look at that, as that was through Paddock Bend.
Yeah, he is back straight and going now, though, so looks like all will be well there. For the most part, you know, maybe just hurting his pride a little bit more than anything is trying to find where some of the other battles are on track here at the moment. Is you know, it's things have definitely started to calm down here after the pit cycle.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaos between when the pit cycle started and when it finished, so that's why we're seeing so many gaps. But yeah, that's why the gaps are there for sure. So taking a look at some of the battles around the track, it looks like Peter Newhook on the back of Devin Lamke for 4th place in the GT4s, about 7/10 back. Also got a battle for 9th in the GT4s with Nicholas Collender and Cody Hatch. They're about a half second apart. Then we got this battle that we're taking a look at. This is between Michael Broomhead, Ozzie Milwane, and Andrew Hardman, as they're just going through paddock this time around. And Milwane looks like he's trying to get himself into that silver medal position for the TCR machines.
So far, the strategy play of the day looks like it might have been Andrew Waring staying out and coming down pit road when he did in that TCR, with that now over 6-second lead over top of Broomhead and 7 seconds over top of Ozzie Milwane.
Well, let's see, Adam, because he took the shortest stop of everybody, so let's hope his fuel calculations are right, but he's a good second or two shorter of a stop than anybody else, and he's not our latest pit caller.
So could be a little intrigue there, something to keep our eye on here as we get into the later stages of the TCR GT4 field race here at Summit Point. Just a reminder, coming up here in a little bit, we all have GT3s and LMP2s at Long Beach. And as I was talking about, if you were around last week for that one, it was exciting at Watkins Glen, expecting a lot of excitement at Long Beach here for tonight as well. A little bit of contact there, it sounded like there for just a moment. So that Kazakow, something happened. Yeah, something's happened to Kazakow.
What was that?
Kazakow is in the pits. This was an incident with a back marker on his own of the GT4s. This was Pete Thomas.
Saw Pete Thomas have the incident earlier, and I don't know what happened, but he just...
That's Kazakow out of the race.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what happened. It was just all of a sudden... They made contact.
Oh, he beached it. He beached the car on the berm, and so he had to take a tow. He couldn't even try and recover if he wanted to. That puts Rod Campbell in the lead of this race.
Not exactly sure what happened with the contact there between him and Pete Thomas, but that is going to end Kazakow's race. You know what? That also is going to mean that he's going to be giving up the points lead as well, with Rob Campbell only 12 points behind him going into this race. So that's not good news, both for Christopher Kazakow, his point standings hopes, but also Advanced SimRacing's on the team side of things. They're both going to hurt from to that result, as Rob Campbell has taken over the lead in the GT4s.
And Kazakow was like 7 seconds ahead of Campbell, so this is really heartbreak for Kazakow, and such a fluke of an incident.
Wondering if something might have happened mechanically to Pete Thomas's GT4 for him to slow abruptly, but we'll let the stewards decide everything that happened there. At the end of the day, though, Rob Campbell now in the lead. Looking at P3 as the GT4s here between Lamke and Newhook. Now suddenly this is for a podium spot as they continue to go out. These guys have been fighting really the entire race here so far for the last 30 minutes. Peter Newhook in the draft, and they continue to really try to get going here.
Yeah, Pete's got some work to do to try and get going, and it's going to be a rough ride for him for sure. just because these GT4s are starting to get a little loose, it's looking like. So yeah, Lamke and Newhook definitely trying to get themselves going as far as this battle is concerned.
All right. So once again, it's just some technical difficulties here for tonight. That's fine. We can do this old school style like radio. But Peter Newhook in that Aston, and also with Devin Lamke in that Aston, they're very evenly matched, Adam.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. They are definitely evenly matched, the two of them. About 5 seconds separating them. Oh, Newhook goes a little bit wide, exiting the S's. So that's going to give Lamke about a second lead as they go through Paddock Bend. So unfortunately, Lamke falling back. Newhook falling back of Lamke. So that battle's now out to about a second. And that being said, take a look at second for the TCRs between Milwain and Broomhead. These two are nose to tail as they go into turn 5, or as we like to call it, yard sale.
Yeah, and don't forget, you got Andrew Hardman right behind them. So you have a 3-way battle suddenly here for second. And I think you're right. I did count Andrew Hardman out probably just a little bit too early as he's ran these guys down again as they were battling. And you're going to have a little bit of a train here as we start down the I guess it's the side straightaway right before you get to the front straightaway. It's one way of looking at it because you got that long sleeping right-hander. You have to carry your momentum through here if you want to carry it all the way down the front stretch.
Yeah, Broomhead got a good run through Paddock Bend, so Ozzie Milwain now falling into the clutches of Hardman. Now, this is important to note. Hardman's still 8 seconds off the back of Warwick, who's going through turn 1 now, and now we count the 8 seconds as Broomhead hits the brakes. Hardman up the inside of Milwain. They're going to go side by side as they go through one. Milwain trying to hang strong on the outside, gets a little bit too wide into the gravel, but they're still side by side as they exit turn 1 and approach towards Wagon Bend. A little bit of side drafting coming from Ozzie Milwain as he's trying to hang on to that position. Milwain's going to hold it as they go through Wagon Bend. He takes it very deep, clipping the gravel, but retains the position. Ozzie Milwain still in third with Hardman in fourth.
Fantastic side-by-side fighting there between Andrew Hardman and Ozzie Milwain. And all Michael Broomhead wants to do is to behind these guys, hey, keep fighting. More you guys fight, the less I have to worry about you. So that's what Michael Broomhead is thinking at the moment as he has a hold on second. But now Ozzie Milwain has cleared Andrew Hardman and has a sight set as long as Andrew Hardman doesn't catch back up here to Ozzie in the draft.
Yeah, and it looks like Hardman is very tight to Ozzie, but they've got Charles Sumner behind them. Charles Sumner on the same lap as them, but in the GT4 machine. Ooh, Milwain with a bad exit. Hardman going very wide, but retaining all of his speed. He's going to try it again. He ducks out from behind Milwain, going to the right of him, and they're now side by side, door to door, mirror to mirror as they approach the braking zone. The 5 meter, 4 meter, 3, and now on the brakes for the 200 meter cones. Hardman does take the position this time away from Milwain, parks it on the apex of turn 1. Milwain giving him a little bit of a bump draft as they head towards Wagon Bend. He's going to stay with them as they head towards the corner.
And Charles Sumner was on the radio.
He moves him.
The contact. Slightly different braking points through there. They both stayed straight. And Charles Sumner was on the radio a minute ago, letting him know, hey, he knows there's a battle going on. He's not going to force any issue here, but he also has his own race with Don Bowden creeping up behind them in his GT4 class. But they are relatively deep in the field as P2 and P3 and P4 for your TCRs remains in contention.
Absolutely. It's going to be white flag next time by for Rob Campbell, who just went through the S's, so about half a lap to go for Rob Campbell before he catches the white flag. This is the closest battle on track, which is between Milwain and Hardman. Milwain only about 5/10 back of Hardman right now. Another battle for the GT4 is between Newhook and Lamke, still about 7/10, but it's white flag this time by for Rob Campbell. As he approaches the line, he's going to cross it right now. White flag.
Actually, that was the race. Rob Campbell has won your GT4 class at Summit Point. Coming home in second is going to be Peter Newhook, followed by Devin Lamke, as they had a fight to get around some TC4s and trying to get over to your TCRs here. As that continues to be a fight there for second, third, and fourth there, but Andrew Waring has himself a commanding lead.
Yeah, Andrew Waring with 8 seconds over Michael Broomhead, so that's how much that battle has widened out. But Waring coming through the final corners, there you see him now going through the S's for the final time, approaching the bridge and then Paddock Bend. Andrew Waring had luck on his side, but some hard fighting as well, and a good pit strategy. He's able to make it on the least amount of fuel taken as out of any driver. Andrew Waring, just a little bit of sputter as he comes to the line, but he will take the win.
And back there for second, third, and fourth in your TCRs. The next battle, Michael Broomhead's going to be able to get it over Andrew Hardman. Hardman and Milwain swap positions right at the end of the race as well while we're watching the other battles. So Hardman comes home in third. Milwain's going to take the jump here at some point. Lots of places to jump your car at the end of a race here at this track. So having a little bit of a good time as the field finishes out the race here for today. And we come back here. Actually, I believe we should be able to get those race results now that the field is starting to close out here before I try to send us to break. But these guys, very hard fought battle as Rob Campbell comes home with the win over 7 seconds over top of Dean Giroux. Peter Newhook almost 13 seconds back. Behind him, Devin Lamke with a great battle between those two at the end of the race. Sean Moulahan coming home in 5th. Dave Peterson 6th. Nicholas Kolander in 7th. Skip Gandy in 8th. Kevin Berquist in 9th. And Christian Lesiak in 10th. Adam?
Yeah, then we've got Jeffrey Sebak, who's going to be in the 11th position with Sylvain Bergeron in 12th position. Then we got Robert Galanotto in the 13th spot with Charles Sumner down there in 14th. He's the first one to finish behind the TCRs. Don Bowden finished immediately behind him. Then there's your drivers who all had big issues. Pierre-Olivier Frechette, Mike Witt, Christopher Kozakow out of the race. Your first DNF with Cody Hatch and Pete Thomas, as well as a couple of others. We got Johnny Luna and Danik Van Dale. Nick McLaughlin did not start the race.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Johnny Luna and Danik Van Dale right there at the tail end of the GTR field. That was 4th and 5th in points going into today. On the TCR side, Andrew Waring, Michael Broomhead, Andrew Hardman. That's your podium with Waring coming up with a big win over Broomhead and Hardman. Ozzie Milwain spent a good chunk of the time out front. He came home in 4th. James Doherty in 5th. Nick Horvath in 6th. Phil Amaro in 7th. Tyler Scarali. It looks like he had to make another trip down pit road. That cost him a chance at a podium. He finishes in 8th. Brian Hoskins in 9th. Sebastian Villeneuve in 10th.
We got Calvin Lay and Harlan Goldbrun, who both had big issues during the race, had to come down for multiple pit stops. We got Jean-Sebastian Giroux, who we watched a couple of battles with him going on. Jerome Stanton came home in the 14th position with Jaume Hurd in the 15th spot. Then we got Malcolm Foster, Pete Bladon, Jeffrey Smith, Jonathan Wagner, and Joe McCauley rounding out your top 20. And that actually does it for our TCRs.
All right, so, well, we come back here in a few minutes. We got another exciting LMP2 GT3 class race. That's going to be at Long Beach. We'll have that for you in a few minutes. Oh, I'm sitting here. I'm getting all out of order. It's been that kind of night, folks. We'll talk to a few guys. Then we're going to go to Long Beach. Hey, let's go ahead and pull in Rob Campbell. He won the GT4 class. Adam's going to talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, I mean, that was an interesting way to win for sure, but talk to me about your race. It seems like the traffic out there was really hard to navigate, and the pit stops were a little bit challenging today too.
Yeah, the traffic was tough. I don't know what happened between Chris and the lap car up there. It's not the way I want to win. I wanted to battle him for the win, so it's unfortunate. But yeah, it's a tight track, real short track, so you catch a slower class car in the wrong spot, and you might have to follow them around for 3 or 4 corners, and it costs you up to a second or two a lap, but managed to pull it through.
Yeah, it seemed like before the pit stops, there were a lot of battles and a lot of concertina effects going on, especially going into turn 5, which we nicknamed yard sale here. How was it out there trying to navigate all this traffic and try and make sure you're not bumping into guys while also staying close enough to try and effect a pass?
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I think I filled up the mirrors of any of the slower cars long before we got to a corner, so I didn't have too many hairy moments out there. So I felt pretty lucky there. But I was making some ground on Chris before the pit stops, and then I just blew my exit to pit stop. I thought I still had the pit limiter on, but I was actually hitting the rev limiter. And by the time I figured that out, about 3 or 4 cars had passed me coming out of the pit lane. So we were down a few seconds to him trying to work our way back up.
Well, that being said, Summit Point's in the rearview mirror. What are your thoughts heading into the rest of the season? How are you feeling?
Well, I think Long Beach is up next. That's always a fun one. It's going to be interesting as well with the multi-class. It's tight confines. You don't have you got nowhere for off tracks either. So if you're out of the line and you go wide, you're into the wall. It could end your race pretty quick. So we'll see how it goes. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, Rob, is there anyone you want to thank for your win today?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to thank you guys for putting out a broadcast, but also the guys over at VRS. I blew a load cell on my throttle pedal practicing this weekend, and they actually overnighted me a load cell today, so I was able to slap that in and get ready for the race, so I didn't miss any action. So great customer service from those guys, and again, the PRL guys run another great league.
Absolutely. Congrats to you on the win, Rob, and we look forward to seeing you next round.
Thank you.
That was Rob Campbell, our winner in the GT4s, and our TCR winner, Andrew Waring, has caught up with Adam.
Yeah, Andrew, hey, great win here for today. And, it's kind of one of those ones that, it took a few things to have to go your way during for that to happen.
I was kind of knew it was going to be a pack race, judging by practice, and qualifying was so tight. So, I made a bit of a mistake that allowed the two guys to go in front of me, and then I figured, instead of battling my teammate, I might as well just try and conserve some fuel, conserve some tires, because the track temp was just so hot. I think it was like 111. But then we pitted, and I really don't know where the gap came from. I thought it's pretty hard to save that much fuel when the car only consumes 0.3 of a gallon. So I'm not sure where that 5, 6 seconds that I gained came from. So, but good race overall, for sure.
Well, we go from a place like Summit Point to next week we're going to Long Beach, and you've had a really good season here so far in these TCRs. I mean, what do you think is going to happen at Long Beach? Is it going to be much of the same out of you, or are you going to, totally different type of track?
I'm trying to do my best to just keep out of trouble and score points. You do get a drop event with this series, but unfortunately, like we saw tonight with Jonathan, he had I'm not sure if he had some issues or disconnect, but that's 2 races now. He hasn't finished, so he's pretty much out of the championship. So I'll be thinking about the championship more than the event. If there's some GT4s that want by or some TCRs that want to race by, I have no problem letting them go and just keep pumping in these top 5 finishes.
All right. Well, Andrew, anybody you'd like to thank here real quick?
Yeah, Evolve Sim Sports. They done a good job with delivery. We actually got a setup provided to us from the Britannia boys, and I know they worked really hard on it. It was amazing, obviously. And just PRL and you guys at GSRC. Thanks for the broadcast. I look forward to watching it.
All right. Well, hey, surprise for you there. It's gonna be a radio show for a little while there. We always like those. So, but hey, Andrew, appreciate you stopping in, buddy. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks.
All right. So next up, Adam here is going to catch up with Peter Newhook.
Yeah, Peter Newhook finished in 3rd place today. Peter, you're in the middle of a lot of battles today and quite a bit of traffic. Talk to me about your race.
Yeah, that was probably busier than it reflected in the final result. I think I qualified 3rd and ended 3rd, but there was a lot more involved in between. During warm-up, I don't drive this track very often. I just remember driving around thinking, this is a lot bumpier than I remember. This is going to be challenging, and I was just expecting a lot of chaos, and the TCR times were so close with GT4 times that I knew it wasn't going to be easy to get around them. So we were really going to have to claim our space.
Yeah, absolutely. It seemed like the from the exit of the S's into Paddock Bend was probably your best shot at getting past those TCRs, but they were really fast at the end of the straight. So talk to me about what your strategy was for navigating that traffic.
Yeah, it was a lot of patience. There was, I forget, I guess it's turn maybe 2 or 3, sort of going up just by the sandbox. It was surprisingly safe to sort of take the inside line there. Normally you would be really wide and then cut across. But that was not a place where they would drift into you, so that worked. Yeah, honestly, it was just safety. I think early on I lost a couple spots, and I saw Johnny Luna coming up behind me, and he was putting his nose in where I really thought wasn't right. I thought this ends poorly for everyone. I just let him go past. I'm just watching the replays, and I saw that, yeah, he came out of the pits, put his nose where he shouldn't have, and took himself out of the race. So like, I think, I don't know what the rest of the season looks like, but today was more about safety than it was about raw pace.
Well, Peter, is there anyone you want to thank for your podium finish today?
Yeah, just my cat Cricket. She was super chill while I was driving, and I think she's owed a little treat now.
Well, congrats on the podium, and we look forward to seeing you at Long Beach.
Thank you.
All right, that was our second place finisher, Peter Newhook, and we've got one more person to talk to today. I believe that is Mike Broomhead, who's going to be talking with Adam.
Oh, we'll actually have Broomhead, and we'll have Andrew Hardman coming up here in a minute. Hey, Mike, pretty good race today. I mean, Podium kind of came back into sight after a little while after the pit cycle, and then just rode it out to the end. Have to fight your way to for second and third. It was great.
Yeah, in all honesty, I got to give a lot of thanks there to Andrew. My pit strategy was purely I had no idea what fuel to put in because my screen was messing up. So I waited for a number and I pitted as soon as I had that number. And he's the guy that told me what to put in. So really, thanks to him for allowing me to jump a few guys there and ultimately.
Well, we know a thing or two about your screen's messing up here tonight on GSRC, but you went into tonight third in points. You're going to come out with possibly, actually probably still third in points, but I think you probably close the gap just a little bit. And then you got Long Beach next week, which should be another exciting one.
Yeah, I think the Long Beach is going to be a complete ball game. You know what? Like, this is our first season in TCR. I'm just shooting for whatever I can get at this point. It'll be cool if it came my way a little bit, but at the same time, I'm having a lot of fun. Everybody's really fun to race with. Everybody's so clean. Like, you see how close we're running together, and I drama there. So, guys. But yeah, good fun. Can't wait for Long Beach, and it goes well again.
Well, we all know what you need. Hey, Mike, we'll see you next week, and I appreciate you stopping by.
Good. Actually, just can I just say happy birthday to my dad? He's just watching. That's all I want to say. Thanks, guys.
Hey, absolutely. Birthdays are allowed to be celebrated here. Hey, all right. Hey, thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch up with Andrew Hardman real quick before we go over to Long Beach.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, that was a really difficult race today. Just, a couple of things not going your way and the incident that happened at turn one, but nice recovery. Good job to get yourself back up there towards the front of the field. How'd you pull it off today?
Thank you. Yeah, it was a tough race. I blame the pit stop totally on me. I should have practiced that. It's the first time racing at this track, and so I had no idea that it'd be so close with the pit boxes. But I think the car that I had today was good enough to win. I think I had the speed to do it. I had conserved tires throughout the first part of the race after I got taken off behind all the rest of my teammates. So that was looking good. I was sort of, after the pit stop, ready to fight for the win. After drafting up to Scarali and Waring, but yeah, it just didn't work out. Made a mistake. Glad to get a third. I think that that was the best I could do. Mike was just that bit quicker than Ozzy, I think. So I couldn't get to him in time. But good job to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was a hard fight all the way up to the front, but you made it up there. Is there anyone you want to thank for your finish today?
Yeah, the Team Britannia, Mike and Tyler and I work quite well together to develop setups. We love practicing together. It's a blast to do so it makes it easy to do work and get the car dialed in and get the driver dialed in, for that matter. Of course, you guys for putting on a great show, organizers of PRL, and my girlfriend and my parents. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Andrew, and we'll see you at Long Beach.
Thanks.
I was Andrew Hardman, who finished down in, I believe, 4th position. And back to you, Adam.
Yeah, all right. So actually, I believe it was, I think we came home in third, but, that's either here or there, because we're switching gears. We're going LMP2 GT3 racing at Long Beach after this.
Hey there, I'm Nicholas Dubois, co-founder of Advanced SimRacing. We are a Canadian company. So what we did here today is for a real petrol head. He's really passionate about cars, as you can see behind me. We did a turnkey solution for him based on his needs. We try to gather as much information as we can on our client. And like we did today, we install a D-box system. We install ultra-wide cube control steering wheel. We try to provide the best quality for your budget. So let's say if you want a budget of 10 grand, we're gonna give you something that's the best for 10 grand. If you want 20 grand, then we always try to stay within your boundaries. We do try to make it as easy as possible. So the client, once we install everything, it's pretty much gonna be a turnkey. So he's gonna press start on his computer, and right after, we'll try to explain everything, how it goes, how it works, and then he's ready to go. Our aluminum is from USA, treated in Canada, cut in Canada. So we do sand all our aluminum piece just to make sure the powder coat sticks to it. And that's one of the reasons why we use powder coat, is to make sure you have the best aluminum finish in the industry. And our quality is beyond what you can get with any other competitors right now. We are really, really passionate about all the gear, all the cockpits, all the sim hardware, and that's why we want to create something that's really going to reflect our passion into our product. Come visit us at advancedsimracing.com. You can always reach us if you have any questions. You can call us, you can text us, you can go on Facebook, like our page, ask us questions over there, and we'll make sure to answer every questions there is. We are very passionate about what we do, and we try to make it as easier for you to go into the sim racing world, because there's a lot of gear, there's a lot of options, but let us guide you through your process, and let's hope you'll be an Advanced Sim Racing customer.
And now, from West Virginia to Long Beach, California, we're back here on GSRC, and we're kind of at the one and only Long Beach. This 11-turn layout can be pretty exciting, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely. 11 turns over the cross this layout, and we're replicating the Grand Prix of Long Beach, the IMSA Grand Prix of Long Beach that happened here actually just about a week ago. So yeah, 11 turns over about 2 miles or 3.17 kilometers. Such a challenging track, concrete on every turn, and that hairpin is a beast, especially in these LMP2 machines. Those machines are extremely long, and so that makes getting through the corner very difficult. They actually have to sweep extremely wide in order to make it. So keep that on your radar for tonight, and keep the multiclass on your radar as well, is trying to pass somebody through the fountain section all the way through up until Takati turn. It's going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, and these laps, they go by fast here, even with that really slow hairpin turn. Hey, we got a couple of people we want to thank here for tonight. Didn't get a chance to earlier. We want to do it now. Our broadcast tonight is brought to you by ASR, owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
Tonight's broadcast is also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
And finally, the PRL Multiclass series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading services and brokerage software. NinjaTrader is also always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit NinjaTrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance.
All right, qualifying, getting ready to wrap up here, so we're going to go quickly through this standings. LMP2 side, driver standings for tonight. Paulo Munoz still on top. In fact, really starting to try to set sail over top of Graham Sanders, who himself is trying to set sail over Miguel Vigo. But one race can change your fortunes. David Holland in fourth and Mauricio Cuero in fifth, 45 points behind. Those team standings for LMP2s look like this, with Pure Sims Esports in the lead over top of Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing, Punto CL Racing Racing Black and Blue and Black taking third, fourth, and SRT Black in fifth. Adam?
Yeah, then we got the GT3 driver standings, only 4 points separating Carlos Villa and Ted Lowendick, but look at that, just 1 point back for Vincent Trepanier. Very tight racing there for them, for sure. Then it's another 32 points back to Arnaud Janot, and then we got 5 points back to Alexander Breton. For the teams, they've got the ASR Esports Purple team up in the lead of that by 41 points, so a pretty decent gap over their fellow team, ASR Esports Cyan. But then it's only 15 points back to SRTE Blue, so that's a very tight race for them for sure. And only about 23 points back to Alpine Stars Geodesic Racing, 72 points back of the lead. Then L1 Esports rounds out 5 points back of them, so very tight for the GT3 for sure. Race details, Adam.
Yeah, race details here for today. Round 4 of 10. This is a 45-minute race. It is open setup, and drive-through penalties are at 13x, disqualification at 17. All right, let's skip on over to the grid. And your LMP2 pole winner here for tonight. I haven't had a chance to look myself. It's going to be a total surprise for me as well. Who's on pole here for tonight? It's Carl Modoff coming home just under a minute 10 lap. Mauricio Cuero in second on the front row. Row 2 is going to go to Graham Sanders and Christian Eisler in fourth. David Holland and Maurice Falakis in sixth. Row 4 is going to go to Francisco Montini, then Horatio Calquin. Christian Raditz and Lance Loomis are going to round out your top 10. Going to row 6, you're going to find Dave Menina and then Ryan Scully. And then row 7, Ignacio Rodriguez, Felipe Ricumi, Tieston Layton, and Kyle Strykart. So make up row 8, and row 9 is going to Jeremy Gonzalez, who did not set a time.
Vincent Trepanier is going to take the pole in the GT4 machines, and then we have Kevin Norris down in the second position in the GT3. We got J.R. Williams starting out row 2. Next is Jean-Marc Tremblay, who's going to line up in 4th. Anna Genet is going to round out your top 5 with Sebastian Murray in 6th. Carlos Villa starting off at 7th position with Alexandre Breton in 8th. We got Rafael Russo in 9th position with Marc-Andrés Desjardins in the 10th position. And then that's actually going to be rounding out all of our cars today. 27 cars on the grid.
Yeah, but only 10 of them are GT3 cars, so the GT3 field a little bit on the thinner side here for today. Maybe some people seeing Long Beach on the calendar and figuring we're going to go ahead and take our drop, but believe me, I don't know why you want to do that. This could be an exciting race. It is a short space lap here. We're already rounding the back half of the course with coming up to the hairpin. And on the hairpin, they want the entire field to come through the hairpin and get set up before they go green, at least by class. They want the entire field. So LMP2s are waiting. They're waiting. Even if you see the green flag, they're not going to go till they get the okay to go. And they are now given the green flag. They are free to go as the LMP2's field is set up. As David Holland is off, Graham Sanders, Horatio Calquin, and Carl Modoff. Carl Modoff taking the field down. A good launch. They head down toward Toyota. Already starting to get single file for first and second, but third, fourth, and fifth are wanting to get a little exciting. How those GT3s look.
GT3s haven't started yet. They're just about to get the green flag. And now they go. They just crossed the start-finish line. Looks like Kevin Norris actually decided to back out of it a little bit, and there was a little bit of contact between himself and J.R. Williams. J.R. Williams side by side with Kevin Norris as they go into the first turn. Looks like they're all sprinting out in the backfield, but look at this. Trepanier leading them. There is Kevin Norris trying to take it deep on Williams. He's going to push him out towards the outside and take the position away.
That is definitely a corner where we might see some action tonight as they round the fountain and head down the other half of the track. Now, these guys are going pretty quick here for tonight. There's only 10 of them in the field. Expect some movement even inside that 10. Your LMP2s, though, Carl Modoff has himself a great start to this race. He is already about 0.6 of a second over top of Mauricio Cuero, and David Holland behind them with Graham Sanders as they're wanting to make some moves tonight themselves.
Absolutely. Dave Menino just got his way past Ryan Scully, and Jeremy Gonzalez getting himself past strikers. Then we have a little bit of a battle going on for 13th and 14th there, as Carlos Villas had an issue in the GT3s. He's got himself back going again, but that was a problem. And so, yeah, a little bit of a bottle up in the GT3s back there.
That won't be something you hear very often. Having a problem and being able to get going again, as usually problems here at Long Beach end up being terminal. There's lots of places you can hit and hit hard.
Yeah, speaking of that, Lance Loomis just hit the barrier going through turn 2, and there is the incident that happened with Villa. That was a lot of contact from a lot of vehicles back there.
couple of dented noses now. We'll have to see how that affects their performance. The good news, though, is that Long Beach isn't exactly a very high-speed aerodynamic sensitive track, so they might be okay. LMP2 field continues to be, for the most part, single file, but that lead between Modoff and Quero continues to extend itself. Now, the real battle here might be for second, third, and fourth, as those guys continue to maintain a pretty solid gap with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That is Quero, Holland, Sanders, and Eisler, as they're all tucked in with each other. You think to yourself, oh, I'll, late apex the hairpin and get a good run. But unfortunately, late apexing the hairpin means that you don't get a lot of grip on those rear tires. That being said, Holland's got a good, nice run on Quero, but just can't get alongside before the braking zone, has to back out of it.
And one of those cars, I just noticed this, and I apologize for just noticing it, that was involved in that incident a minute ago was Carlos Villa. So your points leader in your GT3 class already having issues in a smashed front end on that Mercedes. Not exactly a good start for Carlos Villa's night.
Yeah, and Villa was the one who actually was turned around and had to get going again once everyone got by. So Villa's got some work to do. He's last on track, only about 3/10 behind Marc-Andre Desjardins. So he's got some work to do, but very tight up there for the second position, it looks like, between Kevin Norris and Jared Williams as well.
As we ride on board, and very, very tight course here at Long Beach. As I mentioned a minute ago, if you hit something here, you usually hit it pretty hard because concrete looms literally around every corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Now they take the dive through turn 6 down as they head down Pine, and now they're going to take the right onto East Seaside Way. And this, look at how well Trepanier takes that corner. That was a fantastic corner from him to get away from Kevin Norris, who were riding on board with a good late apex, carrying a ton of speed through that dangerous corner.
This really, one of the most impressive tracks in my mind to ride on board with is going to be, in the entire iRacing service, is Long Beach. Look at him getting that one-handed, whipping that wheel around the hairpin. That to me gives you probably one of also the best examples of driving around the hairpin and riding on board, because you have to do that. You really have to grab that wheel and whip it all the way around, even to the point that you just almost have to do it one-handed, but then you got to whip it back the other way just as fast.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to unwind it fast enough that the car takes a straight line. Otherwise, you deal with a lot of problems. I can report that David Holland is getting caught by Graham Sanders for third position in the LMP2s. These guys just coming through the hairpin themselves, and just such a hard run for the LMP2s to come out of the hairpin. But yeah, this battle for first place in the GT3s, though, not letting up between the two teammates.
No, they might actually stay that way for just a little while, though. So they might be content there. We'll keep an eye on it, make sure Kevin Morris doesn't want to make a move. But here's that battle with David Holland. See him get a little squirrely there as they head into the fountain, as David Holland and Graham Sanders continue to run. This is third and fourth. And that blue and white car that you see up there, that's Quero running in second, as Carl Modoff continues to run about second and a half in front of him. So they are definitely starting to space themselves out just a little bit, as these guys really, I mean, it's hard to pass here at Long Beach. I mean, and you're kind of seeing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you can see just how close Sanders is. He might try a move here. It's really dangerous into this turn, but they managed to get through just fine. Firestone turn fairly free and clear. Holland, though, taking a lot out of those tires. Late braking, carrying a lot of speed through the apexes, which hangs them out on those left side tires. So we saw a lot of left side grading in the Grand Prix of Long Beach for the Indy cars this past weekend, and we could see it here again today with these LMP2s if they're not careful.
And meanwhile, we're already going to be getting into lap traffic before too long. The distance between Carlos Villa and the back of the GT3 field, at least the GT3 field that's still in this race, and Carl Modoff is shrinking considerably very quickly. And I think within the next lap or two, we're probably, no, you can't see them there. Trust me, they're there. It's just that windy that we're going to start seeing lap traffic. And if you remember last week when lap traffic started, when they started going through the GT3 field, that's when the fireworks started, and the fireworks did not let up the entire race.
And you'll be able to see them right here as they go down East Seaside Way. There you can see them up ahead. And yeah, it's going to be It's going to be going down the straightaway this time by that Carlos Villa is going to be lapped as the first GT3 getting lapped by the LMP2s. I don't think we've said that all season.
No, we definitely have not. As Carlos Villa has had himself a great season here, but there it is. Karl Modolf is right there. Might even be starting to catch these guys before they get to Toyota. And the multi-class shuffle is officially on as they have to try to dice through here. And it also really opens up. Karl Modolf had like a 2-second lead before he started getting into this. It'll probably shrink just a little bit while he's working through traffic, as he has to go that much slower through the fountain. As you know, they also take very slightly different lines here. And you saw that with Alexandre Breton, as that got a little tight there for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Modolf, though, cutting through very cleanly. And now watch the gap grow between Quero and Modolf, because Modolf up in clean air for 6 seconds while Quero's got to navigate through Russo and Breton still. So we're watching Quero right now as he's trying to cut his way through. And the gap that was 2 seconds, as he gets onto the straightaway, he's going to be able to pass these guys. The gap that was 2 seconds, another 2 seconds added to that, 4 seconds now.
So far, very well behaved. You did see for just a second there between Quero and Villa. Villa actually gave him just a slightest touch under braking from his Mercedes to the LMP2. So everybody was able to get away scot-free. No feelings were hurt in that particular incident. Just look at that jam up there through the hairpin.
Yeah, good thing those GT3s can squeeze through there.
Is already seeing one of the LMP2s. I did not get a chance to see who that was. It dove off and has decided to come down pit road.
Calquin. That's Horatio Calquin who decided to come into the pits. It looks like Jeremy Gonzalez has had some connection issues. He decided to park it instead of watching the key bar drop and running into somebody. So props to him for taking the gentlemanly route there.
And Horatio now is stopped, so early pit stop, so maybe some strategy here going on. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it the rest of the way, but he's sure going to try. As the rest of the field continues on the racetrack. As who is that background? Marc-Andre Desjardins background on the back part of the GT3 field. I think he's finally going to have some room here to be able to get himself straight.
Yeah, and this was off the nose of Christian Raddatz, unfortunately. So just a little bit of miscommunication. I say off the nose, but he actually got it twisted up as he turned onto West Shoreline Drive. So that was actually a spin of his own making, and Raddatz just expedited it a little.
Got that pulled up here on the GSRC replay machine. And
he's just going to clip the inside curb right here and then get a little bump. And that's going to be enough to send him around.
Yeah, to be honest with you, if that would have happened anywhere else on this racetrack than where it did, he might not have been able to get himself fully straight, except for maybe doing the Austin Powers tunnel kart scene. Again, back up, move forward a little bit, back up, move forward a little bit. You know what I'm talking about there, if you've ever seen Austin Powers. But I'm actually impressed. You know, I was going into tonight worried, Adam, that it might be a little chaotic between these two classes, and they have gotten through the first cycle together just fine.
Yeah, but don't hold your breath, because it might get a little chaotic again. Now, Modolf has made it through all of the GT3s, and so he's gotten all the way through. Quero has still yet to get through the remaining GT3s, so... And looks like Graham Sanders has had his own issue. So there we see Quero right now in second position, getting around the outside of Norris into the hairpin. Ooh, that was a little bit of inside contact of the wall from Trepanier, from Vincent, so... He's going to get out of the way of Quero and let Quero go through. But Quero has gained back one of those 2 seconds he lost once starting the traffic to Modolf. Only 3 seconds back now.
But you have to go a long way back now to David Holland and a little bit further back going to Graham Sanders. There isn't a car right now between Sanders and Holland, but that's getting ready to change.
Well, speaking of Sanders, actually, we do need to take a look at that replay. He got hit going into the fountain section. So this was, he hit the outside wall hard going through Aquarium, going through turn 1, and then watch this.
Oh, that was pretty significant contact there.
So it's quite amazing that he's still in 4th right now. He's still in 4th, and he's gaining on David Holland, the man who hit him. So
I'm actually impressed. Like, his car looks straight. I don't see any damage.
he's got some
at all.
rear end damage. He's got some rear end damage.
Okay, on my
Looks like
screen it looks fine, but
Oh, and Jean-Marc Tremblay just had an incident, and this was going on to Pine Avenue off of turn 6. So
David Holland letting Graham Sanders have that spot back after that contact.
here's Tremblay's incident. Oh, he just didn't see the LMP2 on the outside.
And then that Lambo really goes into the tire barrier hard. That almost went in hard enough there. He makes it wonder if he broke his suspension upon contact with the
And the lead just changed hands. Norris over Trepanier right now for the GT3s. So that was into turn 1 as well.
Things picking up here at Long Beach. A little bit later than I thought they would, but they have, in fact, picked up as Kevin Norris is now taking that GT3 lead and still got some LP2 traffic right behind him.
Yes, this is Francisco Montini who's going to separate the two of them. They've got Christian Raditz who's going to try and come through as well. This might separate the two who are battling. There you see Norris tucking in behind Montini, and they've got Raditz who's going to try and pass them on this straightaway. He's going to be able to get Trepanier, but I'm not sure about Norris.
Looking at Kevin Norris here now, and continues to have himself a really good night with fighting with his teammate Trepanier, and it's been a relatively good fight. But look at that move! Look, Kevin Norris has that down, that wheel motion, winding up the wheel and unwinding the wheel as the LMP2 will get by here, and him and his teammate can resume their battle.
Yeah, I'm awful at that, I'll be honest. So it's awesome to watch someone who's got it nailed down. So great work from Kevin to get that to work. And yeah, a second over Vincent at the moment. Oh, look at this, a race on pit road.
All right, pit road becoming a little bit on the busier side here.
Raquelme and Loomis in from around the 8th and 9th positions, currently hitting their boxes. 7.5 seconds for Raquelme and longer for Loomis, quite a bit longer.
While all this is going on, by the way, Karl Modhoff has extended his lead now to 4 3/4 seconds. Actually, I think Karl Modhoff might be coming down pit road or get caught up in traffic because that gap really shrunk. Okay, false alarm. Just timing, just a scoring issue there.
Yeah, scoring doesn't like the hairpin very much.
Yeah, 4.5 seconds. The gap right now between Modhoff and Quero as that continues to expand. Look at that, a minute 10 around Long Beach and a LMP2 for Karl Modhoff.
Now here's something interesting. J.R. Williams has been watching the battle between Vincent Trepanier and Kevin Norris going on, and he is now right on the back of Trepanier. This is a fantastic...
A little bit of contact right there, actually.
A little bit of contact between the two of them. And the funny thing is, they're about 7/10 apart. That's as close as you can get going through the hairpin if you don't take alternate lines. It's such a challenge to pass around this track because of the way that the hairpin separates you out going on to East Shoreline Drive. It's a real challenge. So as they go into the fountain section, this is where you want to try and gain time. So as you sweep left onto Pine, you could possibly take the position away. But it's a real challenge for these drivers to stay nose to tail, especially when the hairpin can separate you by as much as 7/10.
We're sitting here talking about the top 3 right now in your GT3. You can't forget Arnaud Genest. It's sitting right there in 4th, the teammate to Kevin Norris and Trepanier. I mean, he's sitting there ready to pounce in case anything happens. Still within sight of 4th is Karl Modhoff once again setting the fastest lap of the race. Can he go to a minute 9 in this thing?
Oh, Graham Sanders pips him. Look at this.
Wow.
The LMP2 is just swapping fastest times right now.
Just so you know, this is like F1. You get a bonus point for fastest lap. I mean, you just need to go remind Carlos Sainz that he's already set the fastest lap. He doesn't need to do that at Long Beach as well. So if you watched F1 last weekend, you know what I'm talking about there. But looking at how these guys are going, I mean, very, very evenly matched when they're not dealing with traffic.
Yeah, but Sanders 7.5 seconds back of Modhoff for the lead of the race. So unless he can turn those, hundredths of a second into tenths of a second, multiple tenths of a second, he's not going to have an opportunity unless he does it on fuel strategy. But
fuel strategy or mistakes on pit road. We've already seen tonight where mistakes on pit road can cost you a opponent. Something's happening right here in front of Graham Sanders in the hairpin.
Oi, oi! That was close. That was Marc-Andre Desjardins who had some problems right there.
So his night not going the greatest. It looks like he got tagged by the LMP2 of Mauricio Cuero. So your second place runner got into him, and that cost Mauricio about another second for on Karl Modov.
Yeah, and I don't know what Mauricio expected the GT3 to do at that point. Just disappear.
I would say he showed the GT3 what he expected.
Well, let's see what he showed. Yeah, that was a little bit of a I'm coming through, man.
Let me help you through this corner, sir. But bottom line, everybody got back straight. Everybody is fine, and you know, just maybe some hurt feelings later. But bottom line is nobody actually lost a position over it, as Marc-Andre Desjardins is just continuing to work his way through LMP2 traffic, or they're working their way through him, depending on how you want to look at it. So at the front right now still is Karl Modov and Mauricio Cuero. Graham Sanders, that's your podium as it sits right now in LMP2s. GT3s is going to Kevin Norris, Vincent Trepanier, and J.R. Williams sitting there 1, 2, 3, and once again, cannot discount Arnaud Jeunesse sitting there in fourth within shouting distance still of that podium.
Now, with local yellows only here on iRacing, that means the fuel strategy comes all down to how much fuel are you going to put in, how quickly can you get in and out of pit road, and how accurately can you snap onto that box, because all of those fractions of a second add up to be the maximum of your pit strategy, because when it comes to fueling, you're not going to get any variance as far as how long it's going to take to fuel up however many liters or gallons you want to put into the car. So these guys have to be exacting when it comes to their pit stop strategy.
And where it really shows who practiced their pit entry and who didn't is the kind of thing that can cost you tenths or even a second or more. And we've seen it before, and this is one of those pit road entries where we could see it here. I mean, it's not Bathurst-like, but
Modov just got hit. Modov got hit by Breton, who lost it coming out of the hairpin. Not much damage for Modov, but he lost a little bit of time to Cuero.
And I just don't think, I think that the GT3 of Breton kind of had to back in, try to step out on him a little bit, coming out the hairpin. And some of that contact was more netcode contact, but that GT3 was definitely sitting sideways in relation to Karl Modov. Ultimately, probably cost Modov not even really a second over top of Mauricio Cuero.
Now here's a guy who wants to get into some battles. Sanders. Oh, that was a pancake of the wall there.
Not the first time we've seen Sanders hit something here today so far. So he's amazingly, that car is still going after what happened earlier on. Not just still going, but even in contention. As you see Mauricio Cuero starting to get larger out the front windscreen there of Graham Sanders. That gap is closed now down to about 0.7 of a second, closes up a little bit in the corner. They're getting ready to head toward the hairpin here. This will be our first chance to really ride on board an LMP2 through the hairpin. Look how tight that is. They have to slow way up on the hammer once again on the back side of it, and that extends out to about a second.
Yeah, they're absolutely full opposite lock from turning all the way through that corner. That's why they get so close to the wall. And I gotta tell you, these LMP2s are tanks. When I talk to my team about doing endurance racing, as Sanders gets held up behind Vila, who's moved himself up to 5th position while we haven't been watching. So good job from Vila. He's got about 17 seconds up to Arnaud Jeunesse, who's right in behind J.R. Williams. But these LMP2s are absolute tanks. Then when it comes to the endurance races, you want to be driving one of these things because it can take a beating. Oh, looks like Ryan Skalny has had an issue at turn 1.
Looks like he's back going straight now.
Oh, this looks like a rinse and repeat of an incident we saw in the IndyCar race this weekend. This was between himself and Tienzi Leighton.
Yeah, let's see. Are we able to go back and take a look at it on the GSRC replay machine? We are, and pull that up. So you start to head off into Toyota.
Bonk.
Oh, a little bit, almost look like a little bit of netcode contact too. I can still see some daylight between them, but they are able to get going again and away just fine.
Yeah, so everyone just kind of trying to navigate their way through traffic at this point. A nice battle for 12th and 13th between Christian Raditz and Inacio Rodriguez in the LMP2s as they're tucked in behind Vincent Trepanier as JR Williams has had to fall way off the back of... Oh my goodness! That was kind of interesting.
That was significant contact there for Raditz.
I'm really curious as to why he went that direction. The GT3 was clearly moving over there. I think he just felt a little trapped. So Raditz is going to hang on to 12th position while Inacio Rodriguez in 13th, still tucked in behind Kevin Norris, who's our leader in the GT3s. So that was almost disaster for Trepanier, who's in second position.
Yeah, it's definitely not the kind of activity Trepanier wants to see. I mean, he's already lost a lot of ground to Kevin Norris. I mean, that gap's now over 2 seconds. He doesn't want any other extracurricular activities going on around him here for the rest of the night. I believe...
Oh, no! Kevin Norris went around, and he's got big problems!
Oh, and I saw an LMP2 go over.
Quero ran into him, and he's got suspension issues now.
I'm wondering if this started at Karl Modoff because he started losing a lot of time. Oh, yeah, Modoff has got collected. Something happened to Kevin Norris right there.
Kevin Norris hit the outside wall of one. Watch it here. And then this collects, Modoff makes contact, and then the GT3s try and get through, and that right there. Yeah.
No, that was second and third. And they were piled into each other for a while. And track blockages are a real thing.
Yep. That's why they generally have full course cautions here at Long Beach, because the track blockage is a real thing. So now we're looking at Graham Sanders, who is ahead of David Holland. Graham has a real shot at the win here as Modoff takes to the pits, possibly on fuel strategy, but possibly to try and get a little bit of repairs done.
But Graham Sanders' car is, if you say these LMP2s are built like tanks, I'm going to believe you after the hits that Graham Sanders has taken here for today.
Karl Modoff has a meatball flag. Graham Sanders is now the leader of the race.
Not good at all. So I got to ask the question, you might have a little bit more experience in the LMP2s than I do. How does Karl Modoff have a meatball flag and Graham Sanders has not tonight?
It's, if you make damage with the wheels themselves, which are fairly well protected by the side skirts, you can get suspension damage on these LMP2s, and that can cause you issues. We're going to take a look here. I believe this is a moment. This is with Modoff's incident. Yeah, he made contact with the front right wheel, right on the wheel, right on the wheel rim, with that spinning Kevin Norris. So unfortunately for him, he's got a long pit stop. It's not long when it comes to endurance racing. It's going to only be a couple of minutes, but that's long enough for him. But David Holland, now right on the back of Graham Sanders, this is for the lead of the race.
So leads have swapped around everywhere. Graham Sanders and David Holland. David Holland taking over the lead for the moment in the LMP2s. And then, of course, you saw the dramatic fashion that Vincent Trepanier and JR Williams moved 1-2 in the GT3s as things have shaken up now. Trepanier has moved himself down into pit road. He's first of the leaders of the GT3 class to come down as we wait for the rest of the LMP2s to at some point come down. Man, things have shaken up here in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it was all because of one incident with the leaders of both classes in turn one. I can't believe, to be honest with you, that JR Williams was able to sneak through that. Yeah, that was very close.
That's got to be the move of the race. However, he was able to do that, sneak through that accident. You know, and it's not a knock on anybody. There was no real mistakes as far as who should have given ground to who and everything else. Kevin Norris's back end just broke loose on him. It going into one. It happens there, and it's just in a bad spot and collected a lot of good cars as they continue to race around Long Beach.
And Cal Quinn and Desjardins have meatballs now, so a ton of the LMP2s collecting some extra damage around here from the concrete and gathering those meatball flags. I tell you, it takes a lot to get an LMP2 a meatball flag, and these guys are making it happen. Look at this. This is Holland stuck behind Jean-Marc Tremblay. He's finally able to get by, and Tremblay finally and lets Sanders by as well, but Sanders was able to gain quite a bit on Holland through that exchange.
Well, you know, there's somebody we have not talked about, I think, at all tonight, with the exception of the grid, and that's Christian Eisler, who has now found himself into a podium spot in the LMP2s. Now, he's got Mauricio Velakis right behind him, but Christian Eisler stands to benefit a ton from the carnage that has happened here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, Marius Valiakis tucked in fourth position right behind Christian Eisler, so he's got an opportunity to snipe a podium position away. There are a bunch of hungry LMP2 drivers who have not had great seasons who might have an opportunity to get a really nice finish tonight. All they got to do is keep it clean. You got to think of this 45-minute race like an endurance race. Just keep your nose clean, keep yourself consistent, and you'll keep yourself out of trouble unless bad luck befalls you like we saw in turn 1 with Kevin Norris.
Yeah, and you know, and there's so many places where that kind of incident can happen because you don't know what's around the next corner. There's so many blind corners in addition to the narrowing. All right, so J.R. Williams has now made his way onto pit road in the GT3 class as we're watching the LMP2s here split Carlos Villa. Carlos is also on a recovery drive after some of his incidents earlier, is just getting swallowed.
Raquelme, what are you doing, Raquelme? Oh man, that's close between Raquelme locked down and Marius Valiakis. That did not need to be that close.
I don't think you could have stuck a piece of paper between his car and the tire barrier there on the exit of the corner. That could have been another big incident, but thankfully everybody gets away this time.
All right, so J.R. Williams has come into the pits, and he's now side by side with Arnaud Genet. Genet takes the lead away from J.R. Williams. Genet has taken to the pits, so Genet now inheriting your lead.
Good run here by Arnaud after his teammates have fallen into trouble. Him in that purple car still able to keep going here for today, and it'd be interesting what else kind of shakes out through the pit as that battle also that we've been watching between David Hollins and Graham Sanders is back within a half second.
Absolutely back within a half second are those two, so definitely going to be a tight race to the finish for them. They have yet to take their pit stops though, so we can see the pit stops either separate them or bring them closer together depending on Graham Sanders. I think Sanders is trying to save some fuel, so he might try and hop Holland in the pit stops.
Does he want to hop Holland, though? With that front end damage, is he going to be okay in clean air?
That's going to depend. Rafael Russo comes in from second position. Remember, this is one of the longest pit lanes in racing. So 45 seconds down the lane at, I think it's 25 miles. It's very slow. Might be 35 miles. It's a really slow pit lane.
Yeah, while those cars cruise past you going 150, 160 miles an hour, it makes it feel like it's forever. Is watching
this is the battle for the lead we're watching on screen between Arnaud Genet and J.R. Williams.
Will be the battle once Brett decides to come down pit road, which will happen here any second.
Yeah, the field is very shaken up, and you could tell that the drivers know it too. You could feel you could see the behavior of the cars get a little bit more squirrely as they all realize that they have opportunities to get good finishes today in a race where they weren't expecting that. The leaders were so far ahead, but now they've befallen some trouble, and so now these drivers, the drivers that tend to be second, third on back, finally have an opportunity to race for a win, and trust me, they're taking the mantle.
And these guys, even though they're you have Williams filling Arnaud's mirrors as we watch Graham Sanders take that hard right down pit road and follow behind him by Velakis. That gives Eisler now moving up to 2 until he has his pit stop. As it's 40 miles an hour is the pit road speed limit. Either way,
It feels like 20.
It feels like 20 when they're going by at 150, 160 miles an hour. Now we look at David Holland. He just got himself through the fountain section. And whew, I don't know where to start with this race here today. It's been exciting. We've had drama, hard contact, good racing. It's been a little bit of everything as we start getting into the last third of this event.
Yeah, absolutely. So now it's all on the pit stop strategy. So Sanders out clean, 7.9 seconds. So not our shortest time on pit lane. So it'll depend on what Holland can do. When they came in, when Sanders came into the pits, he was about a second behind Holland. So if Holland can do the same type of pit stop for fuel or a tiny bit shorter, he's going to feel pretty comfortable out there in the lead. But look, the battle between second and third between J.R. Williams and Arnaud Genet, so tight. If J.R. Williams could just if Genet makes any sort of mistake, Williams is going to have an opportunity. Now Alexandre Breton finally comes into the pits, relinquishes the lead. This is now the battle for your lead in the GT3 class.
See, and don't forget, Trepanier, with everything that's happened with him, he's sitting right there in third. He's only 2.5 seconds back. If these guys decide they want to get really racy, we've seen gaps like that disappear when the spot's being contested here for tonight. So this could be a three-way battle for the lead in your GT3s, and just really in a blink of an eye. It does not take long for that to cycle through.
2 seconds back is Trepanier, and he has he was 1/10 faster than Williams and 2/10 faster than Genet last lap. So if he keeps adding those up, especially if they get held up by the LMP2s like that happened, this is the moment for Williams. He's going to take it an opportunity, try and make it into Firestone Corner.
Yeah, I think Genet was really hoping that LMP2 would stay down there, give him that draft. He didn't come back down a little bit, but he starts going side by side. They're not going to be able to keep this up for long as things really start tightening up here as they head toward the hairpin and onto the front straightaway. But it opens up again. We get this front straightaway as those Lambos start screaming down there like cons.
Okay, Holland's in the pits. This is the race for the lead of the LMP2s between Holland and Sanders. So Sanders just now entering Firestone Corner as Holland hits his box. So there is Sanders sweeping through. Holland is already out of his box. 35 seconds. It's going to be another 5 seconds before he exits the pit lane, and Sanders is nowhere to be found. Here we go. Holland exits the pit lane. Sanders just crossing the start-finish line now. He's not even in the picture, Adam.
He was right there toward the end, but that is a
what happened to Sanders?
Lead.
It wasn't even a slow lap from Sanders, a 1:12.2.
I think a lot of it had to do with David Holland just nailing what he needed to nail with pit entry and pit exit. He didn't have to fight anybody coming off pit road. I think Graham Sanders had to tangle a little bit with the GT3, not too much, but a little bit. And I think it all just added up to what we're seeing here with Dave Holland going to have a pretty good lead over top of Graham Sanders when this thing cycles through, and Eisler and Leighton make their way down pit road.
Yeah, about 4 seconds. So definitely something to keep our eyes on. Now this battle for the lead of the GT3s separated a little bit by traffic. But Trepanier still 1 second back of Genet and Williams. So that battle side by side between Williams and Genet definitely brought Trepanier back into the picture. 10 minutes to go in this race.
That's all it takes. As it was said, that gap could close in a hurry, and it definitely could. And of course, now you got the team. Now Williams is going to have the teammates of Genet and Trepanier behind him. He's going to have that to think about. And all Genet really wants to do is just get up there and fill his mirrors a little bit and make him make a mistake. And that's one of the easiest ways to get around somebody here. You don't even have to make a move on him. Just pressure him a little bit and see what happens as we start getting into the last part of this race. We're still waiting for Christian Eisler and Leighton to make their way down pit road in the LMP2s, but all your GT3s here have made their stop.
Christian Eisler does pull into the pits this time, so that's going to leave Tiensti Leighton, who has yet to pit. He's just right in the middle of this. There we see Tiensti trying to make their way through So sweeping around the hairpin, tucking in behind Genet, trying to go, and will go around another time. So that will mean that TNC will, I believe, lead this lap. So yes, he does.
So at least he gets that credit to his name there, fighting with the fighting with the GT3s to get through there. As long as he has enough fuel to go around one more time, kind of pitting a little late in this race, but might have been able to save just a little bit. This is a hard track to save on if you have to.
So Eisler comes back out of the pits ahead of Sanders, but misses turn 1, and Sanders goes through.
Oh, and Velakis is going to have to get jammed on the brakes to make contact going through the fountain section.
Oh, that was not what I was expecting. It's not like they have cold tires. They don't take tires in the pit stops for these fuel-only stops, so Eisler just missing the pit exit.
That is not the look that he wanted, as now he's going to have to basically be on his toes to be able to hold off Mauricio Velakis here for that podium spot. So your battle on the racetrack might very well be for P3 in your LMP2s in just a moment, but your GT3 class continues to heat up a little bit as well, as Genet is still only a second off JR Williams. And look at that.
Yeah, Raquelme missing turn 1 as well. And this is not after the pit stop, so that was just a sock up for Raquelme.
And something happened with Vincent Trapani. He has fallen way off first and second.
This was through the hairpin. Vincent clipped the inside of the hairpin. We saw it happen in IndyCar a couple times. So Vincent is now 7 seconds behind Anand Genet, and he ended up holding up David Holland a little bit. So now Graham Sanders 3.5 seconds back instead of 4. But look at this battle between Dave Menino, Christian Radas, and Ignacio Rodriguez. This is for 7th position in the LMP2s that we've been watching.
So the good battle out there between those guys is they all try to get their way around, heading off into Toyota. They start to separate out just a little bit, but going through the hairpin, they were just nose to tail. But that goes to show you just how much they close up. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but we've definitely seen a lot of good examples of that here tonight. With just, you could be right on the tailpipe of somebody, but that's really only about 7/10 back at that point.
So David Holland goes through. That was TNC Layton on the pit lane. So Graham Sanders will now take 2nd position. David Holland into the lead. Christian Eisler and Marius Valiokis tucked in behind Sanders. Sanders is gaining on Holland, and these two guys are staying with him. So this is going to be interesting. Just under 6 minutes to go in this race, and the top 4 are tucked under 5 seconds in the LMP2s.
I think right now,
very close between Eisler and Valiokis right now for 4th and 5th position, as they're going through very tight with Genet, who's in 2nd position, losing time to Williams. Dealing with 3rd and 4th in the LMP2s is Genet, 2nd in the GT3s.
Genet has really been falling off Williams here in the last couple of laps, even without the assistance of the LMP2s to cause that. And just latter stages of the race, I don't think it's so much as being content with finishing 2nd in the class today. I think it's more of a, J.R. Williams really starting to hit his stride toward the tail end of this thing.
Yeah, and what was 5/10 between Eisler and Sanders for 2nd position now opens up to 2 seconds. That's how much time you can lose. Even getting behind one of the fastest of the GT3s as you dive through Pine and onto EC sideway. So Eisler's going to try and make up that gap, and seems to be doing so fairly effectively.
Only a couple laps remain here at Long Beach in your LMP2s and GT3 classes of the PRL multi-class night. As a fantastic race earlier on at Summit Point, now we're finishing up here at Long Beach, and we figure probably about 3 laps are remaining. Takes about minute 12, minute 13 on average to go around here, although we were seeing some really quick times earlier on from Graham Sanders, David Holland, and Carl Modoff down the minute 10 range. So seen some quick lap times, but that's kind of slowing up here as the track heats up, and it's now past 9 a.m. in virtual sim time.
I mean, you say that, but Holland put in a 1:10.3 last lap. So
okay, so that's what I get for trying to say that. Yeah, that Sanders ain't gonna catch him either. He's doing 1:11.4s. So yeah,
Sanders, it's between it's second, third, and fourth for the battle, and Valiokis misses turn 1, so now that puts it between Sanders and Eisler. Eisler can look cleanly ahead of his mirror of his windshield right now.
Yeah, and you have to think that it's some of it has to do with the damage that Graham Sanders has sustained here in this race. That car has been through the grinder quite a bit, and now that Eisler has some of his draft on not very long straightaways here, but enough straightaway that you get the draft to be able to make a move possibly. And either way, though, I mean, we got that damage of a car. He's going to have a heck of a time trying to hold off Eisler.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Sanders definitely carrying a little bit of damage, probably not got a straight wheel in that machine. And Eisler, so much more confident on the brakes. As the tires wear, you're going to get a lot of oversteer under braking because the rear tires want to overtake the front tires. And that's going to be emphasized even more if your wheel isn't straight. You've got an upset toe, which means that the back end's wanting to come around on the car regardless of whether you're going fast or not. But look at this. Eisler with a head of steam. Is he going to try and make a move into one? He's going to have to go on the outside.
He takes that look. Sanders definitely knows he's there if he didn't already. As start heading toward the fountain corner, they'll probably go pretty close to nose to tail through here. Actually, a little bit of a gap opened up for Sanders just because, really Eisler couldn't take the line that he wanted to through 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eisler's going to fall back to about 0.7 of a second. Valiokis got held up behind Desjardins through 1, so even though he was right behind them entering the corner, he's now 2 seconds back. So once again, it's just between these two. Eisler just needs one more opportunity. He's not really going to have it, though, because there's nobody between Sanders and Holland, so Sanders can look ahead and not have to worry about lap traffic. Eisler's going to have to do this all on his own.
And it very well might be something he can do all on his own here. It gets so tight going through the hairpin, but now we're heading toward the front straightaway. This is a perfect drafting opportunity. We saw him try to make a move last time going to turn 1. Will he be able to make another move here this time around? I believe we're going to be 2 to go at this point here. As
and
these
Eisler makes it. Eisler gets ahead of Sanders, and it looks like I still think that was another pancake in the wall from Sanders. Is Sanders trying to save fuel? Is he short?
It may not necessarily be short, but maybe using up more, being in cleaner air, the front end damage, and a whole bunch of other factors.
Oh, he's fallen way back, though.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to make it to the end of this race here at this point. Keep in mind, though, he might be falling back, but he also just pancaked the wall again, too. So there is that.
Yeah, but sometimes when drivers aren't driving 100%, they're more prone to mistakes. So Marius Valiokis has a good opportunity at getting a podium here. It's going to be white flag this time by for Holland, I believe.
We are watching Holland making his way toward the front straightaway now, out of the hairpin. There's still 15 seconds on the clock, so yes, I believe he should be getting the white flag here this time by. Yes, white flag is in the air for David Holland.
Yep, and Sanders and Valiokis only separated by 0.5 right now, and Sanders is not quick. They've got Rafael Russo. They should both make it by. Valiokis, look how much space he's gained. So this is absolutely on for Valiokis. He's going to have to do it into Firestone. That's his only opportunity.
That opportunity is quickly closing. Of course, he has to do it now in traffic, but never mind. Eisler's involved in the same traffic as well as that gap starts to close down between those 3. So your battle is on for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here in your LMP2 class as the door gets shut there on Valiokis.
Yeah, Valiocas is going to have to follow Britain through the corner, so that's that battle done. But Sanders is not done with Eisler. Does he have any fuel left to do this battle? He's falling off the back of Eisler. I think that's over with, but we got to go to Holland for the finish.
Yeah, Holland rounding the hairpin here for the final time onto the front straightaway. It's going to take a real nice and easy weave back and forth in celebration. David Holland taking away the overall win here for today. As looking back now, that battle between Eisler, Sanders, and Valiocas, that's going to be settled in exactly how they run. Go back to J.R. Williams and Arnaud Genet, see how they're doing.
There is JR right now.
Yeah.
And Genet 2.5 seconds back.
So I think that that one's going to be pretty well settled, as well as Genet starts rounding himself, or J.R. Williams starts rounding himself through the hairpin here, coming onto the front straightaway. J.R. Williams is going to come away with the class win for your GT3. Arnaud Genet right behind him as well, and going there 11 seconds back. You'll find Vincent Trepanier there as well. The field's going to continue to round their way, come across the start-finish line, and when we come back here in a few minutes, we will have your finishing order.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Long Beach. What an exciting race here for tonight with your GT3s, your LMP2s. Really, just lots of action all over the place. It was about what we thought, and we knew that it was going to be a very exciting 45 minutes, and they did not disappoint. Hey, taking a look at your race results, David Holland coming away with the overall win, Christian Eisler in second, Graham Sanders in third, Valiocas in fourth, Montini coming home in fifth, Shinsei Leighton coming home in sixth, Dave Meninoff coming home in seventh, Ignacio Rodriguez in eighth, Christian Raditz in ninth, and Ryan Skalny in 10th.
Yeah, then we've got Carl Modov coming home in 11th, with Felipe Riquelme finishing in 12th position. Lance Loomis comes home in 13th, a lap down. And then we got drivers who had big problems. Horatio Calquin, Mauricio Cuero, Kyle Strikars, and Jeremy Gonzalez rounds out your LMP2 field.
Yeah, how about Carl Modov still finishing on the lead lap even after getting the meatball and that craziness that happened. J.R. Williams taking home the GT3 class win. Arnaud Genet in second, Vincent Trepanier in third. The great race between those guys in the latter stages. And look at that, Carlos Villa, after early race chaos and over the course of the 45 minutes, able to get back up to fourth position on the recovery drive. Alexandre Brayton in fifth, Rafael Russo in sixth, Kevin Norris, the disappointment that happened there, and you could just feel the heartbreak coming from him in seventh, Marc-Andre de Jesus in eighth, ninth, Jean-Marc Tremblay, and 10th goes to Sebastian Merrier.
And that's going to take us to our interviews. We have J.R. Williams, who's going to be talking to us right now, the winner of the GT3 class. And J.R., I mean, you had good pace over the course of the day, but the chaos happened ahead of you. How did you weave your way through that?
I believe that's called luck, sir. Lots and lots of luck. But yeah, it was. I had decent pace. I qualified pretty well, but yeah, some opportunities came my way.
Yeah, absolutely. Opportunities came your way, but you had the pace towards the end of that race. He was falling off of you by about a couple of tenths of laps. So Definitely not down on pace today. What do you think was the determining factor as far as how you were edging away of the guys behind?
Well, this week I put in quite a bit of practice. Been pretty motivated. I really enjoy street courses. And then as the race went on, I just kind of refocused myself and made sure I just kind of backed up my entries and worked on my exits. And I think whenever you're behind and you're pushing harder, it's easy to overdrive the car.
Yeah, but fortunately, you were able to keep it clean and get to the end of the race in the winning position. And so talk to me about the traffic a little bit, the LMP2s. How much did that affect your battling today? Were you pretty happy with the multi-class?
It went better than I expected. We have so many LMP2s, so we were just constantly being passed. Most of them, most of the time we were quite patient. There were a couple of times where it definitely impacted us, but it's give and take. So luckily the give and take swayed my way in the end, so can't complain too much.
Well, JR, a win today. That's going to look great on the point standings for sure as well. Is there anyone you want to thank today?
Yeah, I want to thank my teammates. I want to thank Jean-Marc Tremblay for working with me on with setups and trying things out. And then of course, thank the team Speedworks Racing team, and I want to thank our sponsors, GSI, Racing Sim Tools, and just thank you guys. Thank you for the amazing broadcast. Thank you for everything that you guys do.
Well, thanks for talking to us, JR, and we look forward to seeing you next round.
Yes, sir. Next time.
All right, that was JR Williams, our winner in the GT3s, and it looks like we've caught up with David Holland, who took the win in the LMP2s. Holland is going to be catching up with Adam.
Yeah, David, that was a whale of a race, and being able to survive that, coming away with the overall win today, has to feel good.
Hey Adam, hey guys. Yeah, man, I feel like I aged about 10 years in that race. I knew it was going to be tough. I had some practice kind of driving by myself and following Carl a little bit, but I didn't really know how well it was going to mix with the GT3s. I kind of had to figure that out on the fly, but we got lucky. I knew there was going to be some luck involved, and we got lucky a few times. So we'll take the win here.
Well, what they say, win's a win, but even for you, even in the chaos, you still came away with almost a 7.5-second win for today. And how was it from your perspective with the GT3s out there on a course like Long Beach? I mean, I know we saw some fireworks last week at Watkins Glen. We come here expecting some more, and really, with the exception of just blind corner incidents against you, it seemed relatively clean for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part it was. Like I said, once I kind of figured it out, I thought I could make passes in a few more spots than I really could. It just ended up costing everyone more time. So once I realized, like, hey, we're just going to be better off waiting, it kind of clicked a little bit. But like I said, it took a couple times going through them for me to really figure it out. But yeah, like you said, I mean, once I kind of got that understood, and I'm sure others already had that figured out, it didn't seem too bad.
All right, so I know I'm very much in the minority of this, but we're going to COTA next week. It's probably two of my home tracks between that and Texas Motor Speedway, and probably one of my favorite tracks in the entire world. And I know I'm in the minority on that, but you're going there next time out. And today was a great points day for you. Are you going to have another good points day next week?
I hope so. I've always had pretty good luck at COTA. I'll join you with that. I actually kind of like the track. So I've never driven it in the LMP2. I have kind of limited experience in the LMP2, but I'm looking forward to it, though. I hope it's going to be some good, close, clean racing. So I'll join you on that.
Yeah, I just wish iRacing would get the lighting that they had at WEC there when they drove it at night a few years ago. But hey, David, anybody you'd like to thank on the win here today?
Yeah, definitely. Got to thank the team. And all the team sponsors, Extreme SimRacing, Move Up Lynchburg, University of Lynchburg. My teammate Carl, who, man, he had the speed tonight, but unfortunately luck wasn't on his side. But we'll get him next week. And also, my father was in there spotting for me tonight, so I'll throw a shout out to him as well. Thanks guys. Looking forward to next week.
All right, good job on the the father-son there teaming up to bring home a win here for today. Thanks for stopping by, David. And I believe up next, we'll go ahead and have Adam talk to Arnaud Genet.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, fantastic drive today. I know it's not the win that you were hoping for, but that being said, I mean, it was a good drive and a lot of good battling around here. Talk to me about your race.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet feeling, to be honest. Yeah, I had a decent quali, but I was expecting to cut, let's say, a two tenths at the ends and started on the first row. So I kind of messed up my a little bit my quali, and after that is, it's so hard to pass on this track. So it was about more saving a bit fuel behind JR. And since the field is so small compared to officials, I figured that saving a couple of liters here and there, stay close to JR and try the undercut, and that pretty much worked on my side. Too bad for my teammates that had a crash. So Kevin, that was too bad for him. But yeah, in the end, I managed to pass GR. But yeah, unfortunately, on the back straight, I had I managed badly my traffic with Felipe. So yeah, it opened the door for JR, and yeah, I couldn't really kept side by side with him, since he was like he was I was on the inside, but after all, I'm pretty sure you guys covered it. But yeah, there was no way I'm gonna keep him at bay like that. And yeah, and after that he was so quick, I couldn't manage to keep close enough to try something. So yeah, congrats to him. It's really bad for me, but I was hoping to get like a second win on the PRL, but guess it's going to be for another time.
Yeah, absolutely not. And a fantastic drive today. Is there anyone you want to thank for your race today?
So of course PRL, you guys, GSRC are doing an amazing job, and ASR Esport, those guys are crazy. It's very fun to drive with them, so I'd like to thank my team for that. And yeah, of course, looking forward for the following race.
And one last question, just for my edification. Can you say your name for me so I can get it right?
Yeah, that's a very French name, by the way. So my name is pronounced Arnaud, so ARNAUD, but in French, AU sounds like an O and you don't pronounce the D. So Arnaud is fine, Arnaud is fine. And Genet, so again, EST in French is pronounced like well, so whatever. But you guys doing a pretty good job at it. It's always a fun to listen. You guys trying to make that French name sounds good, and you're making me laugh sometimes.
Well, thanks for having a good spirit about it, and we look forward to seeing you at Coda.
All right, thank you guys. Have a nice one.
All right, that was Arnaud Genet, and he has just completed the race in second position in the GT3s, and Adam has caught up with Graham Sanders, who finished third in the LMP2s.
Yeah, Adam, way to hang on to third in the LMP2s. In fact, I'm going to ask the question for the elephant in the room as far as I'm concerned. That car had to have been built like a tank with the abuse that you had tonight with it.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know how I was able to hold on to P3 with that damage. I think I was down about 5 or 6 miles an hour on the straight. I just got really lucky with traffic in the last 15 minutes or so. So that's really the only reason I was able to hold on to a podium. But no, I think I had about 30 seconds of damage when I came into the pits, and it drove fine. It drove fine, just aside from top end, and turn 1 and turn 6 were kind of rough with the lack of downforce.
Well, it's good that it was at least driving straight, because you definitely had a few good hard shots out there, but you also had a couple of moments where, bad luck befell everybody else, and you were able to squeeze through.
Yeah, there were definitely a few moments like that. A bunch of close calls. I had a couple close calls with David. We went side by side through the fountain, and somehow we both got through there in one piece. Because 9 times out of 10 that never ends well. But yeah, all in all, really happy with the podium. Managed to score as much points as I could with that damage. I'm happy.
Well, I will say you might have taken over the points lead when we go to Coda next week. So we'll see what happens when all that gets sorted out. But hey, Graham, anybody you'd like to thank here for tonight?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my team, Alpine Stars, Geodesic, all my sponsors, GSI, GoPro, Wave Italy, and all my friends. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, that was Graham Sanders coming home third in the LMP2 class. And Adam, fantastic run here for tonight. A fantastic race. Pleasure having you around. But we do got some people to thank, so we can get on out of here for tonight. First up, we want to obviously thank the Majors Garage, home of free baseline plus setups, 24/7 coaching, and more. Head to majorsgarage.com and use our special discount code MajorsGSRC for 10% off.
We also want to thank ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at racelab.app.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com.
NinjaTrader. Visit NinjaTrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. We want to say thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Hey, thanks again to the team today. Through everything, we got the show off. It looked fantastic once we were able to get things going. Adam, Zach, Dougie, can't thank you guys enough. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, please check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We keep a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Hey, next race. Hey, next week, it's the GT4 and TCR's turn here at Long Beach. And then we go over to Austin, Texas at COTA for the LMP2s and GT3s. It's April 19th at 8:30 Eastern. We also have upcoming races for the other series listed here on your screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Till next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.